Alright guys, welcome back to Zero Plays Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for 16-bit Winter. Last time, we took out the dragon of the lava dome here, and I started my story on what happened with my computer. So, let's continue that story. Does this do anything? No, I can't do anything. Okay. And let's get this treasure. Sun coin! What the heck does that do? No, I don't want to save. Items. Oh, are these like trinkets you gotta get? I got the river coin, I got the sand coin, I got the sun coin. Status. I'm almost ready to level up. Sweet. Okay, so back to my story about my computer. Do I want to go in there yet? Probably not. I want to go get the item. So I'm going to go this way, over here, and over here. That's probably the way out over there, so I'm going to go get this item that's over here. I think it's upwards I want to go, but I might as well fight this off first. So, I ran a test on my drive, and I was explaining how a computer hard drive works. Basically, when you write data to a hard drive, it writes it to blocks, and as those blocks free up, data will get written to them in placement of other blocks. So it doesn't just use up that space just doesn't stay there. Think of it like a memory card, like a PlayStation memory card or something like that. It uses up blocks of space, but and over time, you'll use more and more of the space. So, oh, the boss healed me after I fought him. Sweet. And hit the two of them. Him. So, okay. So, that's why you gotta defrag your computers. Now, on a PC, auto-defrag is on most of the time, but it won't work. It won't do it if you're using a lot of processes, so sometimes you gotta go do it yourself. On a Mac, it automatically does it while you're using the computer. So Mac users never have to defrag. Ah, shit, I shouldn't use that. Oh well, used a bomb, whatever. I can get more. And we got some more cure potions to alleviate some of the ones we used. So, I think there's something up here, too. Pretty sure there is. Or there's not. Okay. So, I got 3 cure potions. I probably didn't need to get. But anyway, so essentially there's regular data blocks. A warning block means it's a slower block. It means it's probably been written to a lot, or it's not working as well. And then there's error blocks. Error blocks mean unusable blocks completely. Now, if you have one error block, it's not so bad. If you have several error blocks, your hard drive's not going to be usable, because that means more error blocks are coming. Alright, so I can go this way now. Another battlefield? Oh, but I could skip it. What's down here? One Tree Temple. I'm assuming I gotta do this to go upwards. If I can go upwards. Whatever, I'll just do this. Alright, so, because I want to talk about more stuff. Alright. Unexpected attack with Flame Pillar. Oh no. So, I didn't have any error blocks, but I had a ton of warning blocks, which means there are slow sectors of the drive. Which, to me, was like, you know what? That makes sense why this thing's slow now. Because there was a ton of them within 1%. Now, I have a 1 terabyte hard drive. So, doing that test, it goes through each block from start to finish. Within 1%, I started seeing warnings. I'm like, you know what? This is not good. This drive is not usable. No wonder it has issues. So, I was like, shit. So I had 90% of the data. The only thing I was missing was my more recent stuff. So I was like, fuck. So I was like, I don't want to lose these videos edited. I don't want to have to re-edit them. Not that it would take a long time to do so, but that's time I took away from re-editing. Not only that, just before this happened, I had finished shooting and grabbing and did my narration for my next review coming up, which actually might be out before this comes out. We'll see what happens with the scheduling. A link to that will be in the description and annotations and stuff like that. So I was just like, and I had a deadline because I want to get it out on Valentine's Day. I'm like, fuck, now I can't get my review done. I'm not going to make the deadline. So, and as I was talking to CJ during my stream, or Wednesday 13, you guys know who that is. I said, you know, yeah, I've been working on this review. I don't think I'm going to meet my deadline because I set a deadline for, for Valentine's Day, but now this computer shit's happening. And CJ, God bless him, or God's bless him, whatever, basically was like, you know, I'll edit your review because I want to challenge myself. I want to see if I can get a video done, because he's been having lack of motivations for his own videos. So, and I just actually had a chat with him before I started doing this recording. He got most of it done, and the only thing he didn't do was a portion near the end that he didn't really understand, and I just said, oh, I'll just do it. So getting back to my story, he said he'd do it. My drive was bad. So here's the part that was lucky about it. Well, lucky and also kind of not lucky. I now knew I had on my hands, I had to replace this hard drive. I'd been thinking for a long time of getting a solid-state drive. So for those of you who aren't techies, a hard drive is referred to as an HDD. It's actually a hard disk drive, because what you don't realize is a hard drive, it looks basically just like a square, like a rectangle, but there's physical platters inside that disk. Like there's physical disks inside that, referred to as platters, and that's where the data gets written onto for a hard drive. And I don't want to save. I'm so used to Pokemon, I'm hitting X to go into my item screen. Fill them all up, and let's do this. So I was used to that. Really? Another... I went here. How is it an unexpected attack? I expected it. But anyways, I've been thinking for a long time of getting an SSD, so a solid-state drive. The difference with a solid-state drive is that they're basically like memory cards, like big memory, hard drive-sized memory cards, is basically what they are. They're faster, they're more efficient, they don't have moving parts, they're just all around better to use, and they're also more expensive because of that. So I had a 1 terabyte drive in my computer. I've now replaced it with a 500 gigabyte solid-state drive, and some of you might be going, this is my brother's confusion too when I tried to explain it to him. It might be going, well, why would you take half the storage and not just get another 1 terabyte hard drive? Sure, I could get a 1 terabyte hard drive for maybe $40, but I didn't want to fail again in a couple years. Now, normally when I get a hard drive, they last quite a long time. I've only had 1 or 2 other hard drives fail on me in my lifetime. So this was the first time I had one only fail after 2 years. That rarely ever happens. So this is the first time I had one where a hard drive failed like 2 years into owning the computer. So I was pretty pissed off because I was like, fuck. Now I've got this computer. I was like, I've only had this computer for 2 years. It's out of warranty. I can't go, you know, get a replacement drive through my warranty. Like I'm basically stuck with it. So I was kind of pissed. I'm like, I need to replace this hard drive. So I decided to go with a solid state drive. And the reason I went with the solid state is that night, Best Buy was having a flash sale. And I found an SSD 500 gig. I originally was going to go with a Samsung one because I trust Samsung as a brand, but a lot of people have had issues with their drives. And I remembered in a previous job that I worked, I was helping someone with their tower, and they had bought a Samsung drive, and I had to replace it 3 times through Samsung support until I got one that worked. So I was a little iffy on the RMA process for doing that. I was like, I don't want to have to RMA this thing in like less than a year. So I was like, I'm going to go with another brand I trust. So I decided to go with SanDisk. Now, SanDisk, not really ever used many of their hard drives, but I do use their memory cards, like their SD cards in my camera. I've used their SD. I have a SanDisk SD card on my phone. I trust SanDisk SD cards. Like even when the PSP came out, SanDisk was making PSP memory cards cheaper than the Sony branded ones, and I use SanDisk memory cards on my PSP, so I trusted the brand. And they were selling it for something like $150 for 500 gigs, which, after hearing a 1 terabyte hard drive I could get for $40, you might be like, that's a ripoff, but that's actually a steal of a deal in terms of solid states. Because solid state drives, they're expensive because of their speed and their reliability. You are less likely to have a solid state drive break than you are a hard drive. So, because there's no mechanical parts, and they're also faster. So, like, if you ever tried to copy a file to an SD card, you notice, wow, this goes really fast. That's because the way they're made, they're basically mini cartridges, essentially. That's why the Nintendo Switch is going to use them as their main method of storage for games, because they're faster than discs. And I was like, you know what? I want the speed of a solid-state drive. I've recently, for the last year, I had to convert my footage from my capture card because of a codec issue. I figured out what it was. But because I record in such a high quality, my computer would have, if I moved off, okay, so I put my footage into Sony Vegas, sometimes it would crash, sometimes it would just be really slow. If I moved off the window and went and did something else and went back, it would take at least a minute to load back up. It's basically a disaster, but the quality I get is so great, but I couldn't work under those conditions forever. So I was like, I want it so this doesn't happen. I just want this to be fast. And I want this to be faster for games and stuff on my PC. So, sorry, I'm rambling again while I play a game. Not a good thing for me to do. So I was like, you know what? This is a sweet deal. I'm going to take this. So, normally a 500 gigabyte SSD is going to run you at least $200 to $250. They ain't cheap. So here's one I'm getting for about $100 off. It's basically a huge deal for me. I wanted to get one, and while the thing was, I him and hawed because I was like, I don't have a ton of money right now. I'm trying to save up money to move out, save up money for trips later this year. I just don't have money right now to be spending on things like this. So I was just like, well, you know what? I want one. I need one really bad. I need to replace this drive. I'm just like, fuck it. That is too good of a deal to pass up. So I did it. And they said estimated arrival date was going to be Monday. For those of you wondering, I'm recording this on Saturday. The next day I went to work. I was like, okay, tonight I'm going to have to just spend the night copying data and rendering what I could on my other computer. So, damn it, I did it again. So I had, so Friday, which was my day off, I spent that day basically just copying stuff, getting videos ready for that day on my laptop, while my desktop I tried to copy files off it, and I got 99% of my data back. The only things I lost were like downloads and stuff I had made recently. The thing I was worried about is that data that I had made from videos were on those corrupted sectors, and actually the videos worked totally fine. I could open the project files no problem on my laptop. I was able to render them fine. It took a little longer because my laptop's slightly slower than my desktop, but I could work on videos, which was nice. But yeah, I basically got back everything that I was missing that I didn't already have backed up. Keep in mind, I had just recently, as of January, done my year-round cleanup on my PC. I wipe out my PC every year. Because I mess around with so many things on the computer and so much crapware gets on the computer, it's just better to erase your computer and start over from scratch than to just keep using it the way it is. It's something I say because working for a computer company where I basically have to repair computers all day long, when the first thing people ask me is like, how do I make my computer not slow? My first answer to them is like, well, how often do you just erase your computer completely? And they usually say, well, never. And I've had this computer for 4 years. And I say, well, over time, computers get slower. The more you do with them, the more stuff you put on them. And I explain to people, I'm like, I back up all my information every year and I just erase my computer. And I said, I don't expect you to do that. But what you might want to do, is start like clearing stuff, like, deleting stuff you don't need, backing up files you don't need off the computer. And you just, like that, just keep, like, especially important stuff like pictures and stuff like that, put that on like an external hard drive or something, and back it up. I can't stress to anybody watching this video, back up your computer. I don't care if you have a Mac, a PC, Linux, I don't care what you have. Go buy a cheap external hard drive, put your important photos and pictures and videos and all your important files and shit, make a copy of it, put it on that hard drive, and then only take that hard drive out when you want to go copy more files. If you've got a Mac, it's even easier because there's a program built in called Time Machine that basically anytime you've got a drive plugged into your Mac, it backs it up for you. It's like stupid easy to back up your Mac. For a PC, they just added a backup feature in Windows 10. It's a little hard to use and it's not that great, but it's still an option you have. Or you can just drag and drop your shit to an external hard drive. I can't tell you how many times I could have lost a ton of data there, and I've lost data before, and it sucks. I used to make games in RPG Maker on the first PC I ever had before, you know, I was techie and I needed to back stuff up. I lost every single game I ever made. There was a game that I was working on that was almost done that was done on a later computer, but I don't know what happened to it. So, and that kind of killed game development for me, because at one point I thought of doing game development, but I lost everything. So, if you value your data on your computer, just go buy an external hard drive. They're super cheap. I think like you can get like a 1 terabyte now at Best Buy for $60 Canadian. Okay, so, and most of my audience I think is American, so think about that. How much? $60 Canadian is like, okay, after taxes it might be 80, but for you guys it'd be like $50. And that's a small price to pay to have a backup of your data, because data recovery, where you send it to a center and they just back up data what they can off the drive, starts at like $300 and is usually $1,000. So normally I'd end the video here, but I've got one battle left, so I might as well do it. But I'm just gonna heal these guys up. I really should use my spell, but whatever. I can get heal potions super easily. So anyways, end my story. I ordered the SSD, I backed up what I could, and then that day, Friday, my dad usually picks up the mail on his way home from work. I had the drive, so like it had arrived in 2 days, like basically 4 days before it was supposed to arrive, I had it. And my mom, this is where the whole solid state thing comes in. My mom decides to throw it down the stairs. So if that was our hard drive, it would have been dead, and I would have had to wait even longer to get a new hard drive. Now, of course, it was in an envelope, so she had no idea, but it's one of those things where solid-state drives don't have moving parts, so they don't get damaged as easily from like a fall or something. That's why a lot of modern computers that have hard drives still in them that don't have solid states, they just turn off to try to save the data within the computer. It's a safety measure. But yeah, it's thank God, like I explained to her, I'm like, you know, if there's a package that says it's from Best Buy or says it's something technological, don't throw it down the stairs. My office is downstairs, just to give everybody an idea. So I got it, I reinstalled everything, my computer's back up and running. The review that I have working on is mostly done. CJ's done most of the work for me. God bless him, or God's bless him. I just have to do a little bit of editing at the end and the credits and all that stuff. I'm basically back up and running now. So, anyways, guys, thanks for listening to my rambles. Thanks for listening to all the stuff that I had to say. And next time on Zero Plays Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for 16-Bit Winter, we'll find out what the fuck's going on and move on already. See you then.